So this is an interesting story. Quick look surprised. And you got to give some credit to two things. Webbot report, Lindsey Williams. The end of the U.S. dollar reserve system. World's reserve currency. Obama's former chief economist calls for an end to U.S. dollar reserve status. Now let's think about that. This whole time, U.S. dollar, world reserve currency, best, yeah, strong dollar. Now we don't like that plan anymore. What do you mean you don't like that plan anymore? Calling for the end of the reserve status. We don't need that anymore. Even from the new, originally posted New York Times, originally, there are few truisms about the world economy, but for decades one has been the role of the United States dollar as the world's reserve currency. It's a core principle of American economic policy. Think about that. It's a core principle of American economic policy. And I'm going to give you a little quote from Papa Bush, George Bush Sr. from the 1990s, early on, talking about the U.S. dollar and the lifestyle of Americans because of that U.S. dollar. And he sat there in front of a crowd of people. The U.S. lifestyle is not negotiable. Yeah, people went crazy. Like, your team just turned the game around and won the Super Bowl. I mean, the crowd was up. It was crazy. I don't even know how to describe it. Just in an uproar. Just crazy. Yeah, our lifestyle is not negotiable. Until 2008. Financial crisis, you lost your home, got kicked out, lost your job, maybe you're homeless. Maybe you've noticed a very high increase in price of food. We weren't quite referring to that future. We were just talking about 1990s. The lifestyle you have now is very negotiable, as a matter of fact. So it's the core principle of American economic policy. After all, who wouldn't want their currency to be one that foreign banks and governments want to hold in reserve? But new research, this kind of research was never done before in the last 40 years plus. New research reveals that what was once a privilege is now a burden. Whoa, rewind. Strong dollar. They hate us for our freedoms. They want our dollar. American lifestyle, not negotiable. Hold on. What was once a privilege is now a burden, undermining job growth, pumping up budget and trade deficits, and inflating financial bubbles. To get the American economy back on track, I thought it was back on track, the government needs to drop its commitment to maintaining the dollar's reserve currency status. What? The reasons are best articulated by Kenneth Austin, a Treasury Department economist. Oh, we've never had one of those before. Oh, yeah, we have this whole time. Why didn't they say something earlier? Because it's an agenda. They want to make you think that all the problems you're about to experience are good. Paying higher prices for products that we need to import into this country is a good thing. That lifestyle you've been living, even though you may be telling yourself now, this isn't the greatest lifestyle I'd say average American should have, but I guess I'm okay, it's going to get a whole lot worse. But because of these issues they just described, they're going to make you think it's a good thing to have your... Right, it's going to be competitive, the dollar's going to be competitive, and there will be a plus to this. Believe it or not. The problem is it doesn't happen right away, so there's a lot of pain and suffering first. But that is manufacturing, and all these types of jobs will come back. Because now we get to compete against other currencies that are in the same boat we're in. So now we're fighting for the lowest currency. We don't want to hide, strong dollar. We want a weak dollar. Gives us a huge competitive edge on the world marketplace. The problem is, all those countries that we've been dealing with all these years that have slave labor. People, 6, 8, 10 employees, all combined equaling the salary of an average American worker. 6 to 10 people, depending on which country, sometimes more. They could pay all those people one American salary wages. And all of a sudden, we're going to be brainwashed into believing that dropping our dollar value, devaluing it, is essentially what they're talking about here, is a good thing. Now we can compete with the rest of the world. So now what? You're saying we can have 6 to 10 Americans competing with 6 to 10 in a slave labor camp in China or India? Well, let's compare apples to apples. How are those 6 to 10 people living? What are their living conditions like? What's their lifestyle like in India and China where they work in these slave labor camps? You can't even compare it to an average American, even a below average American lifestyle right now. We wipe the floor with them. So how are we going to be competitive and maintain this lifestyle, even a smidgen of this lifestyle, to compete with those people as they're going to try to convince you? It can't be done. So their lifestyles aren't just going to skyrocket up all of a sudden. They've got a good thing going. They've got slave labor camps, making pennies on the dollar, right? So that means our dollar has to be devalued, which once again means your lifestyle is going down the toilet. And there's only one way to protect yourself when this happens. And I know you may be looking at precious metal. Oh man, the prices came down even more. They've been touching the $18 range of silver and low 1200s gold. Oh God, I better stay away from that. I better go invest in the stock market. Yeah, that's a good decision. Let me know how that works out for you when they pull the trigger on this. And I'll let you know how gold and silver do when they pull the trigger on this. And not a second too soon. Which is why they are pushing the prices of precious metals down. They're holding them down, because there's something coming in the near future in which they don't dare want you to even look over, oh man, I don't like that precious metal. Oh, they haven't been doing well either. Matter of fact, they haven't been doing well before this little problem just occurred. This big problem just happened. This has actually been going for months and months and months now. Man, what else should I invest in? What else can I do? I don't feel safe in anything. I mean, that's what they want you to think. Me, on the other hand, are going to tell everybody, keep stacking. This is a fire sale for gold and silver, if you want to look at it that way. Keep stacking, because the more you stack right now, the more you will not be affected, or the least you will be affected by these events we're talking about. Former top economist, Obama's right-hand man, saying, well, we don't need a reserve status anymore. That's nonsense. Who wants that? That's stupid. So, anyways, the government is now telling you, get ready for a dollar devaluation. It's coming, and there's good reasons why. We become competitive, right? They're going to feed you this line of crap. And if you take any ounce of your time to look back and say, well, what crap were they feeding us before this? It was the strong dollar American lifestyle. Other countries hate us for our freedoms and our lifestyle. I bet they said the same damn thing during the Roman Empire's days. How else could you convince your entire citizenry that it's a good idea to go expand territory, take over countries, in order to feed this out-of-control debt you created in your own country? You would have to lie to your people. You're not going to just flat out tell your people, oh, we're going to go rape and pillage and plunder all these other countries, these other free lands, sovereign nations, etc., in groups, just so we can keep your lifestyle going. Because most people would still say, well, we're going to go kill people to maintain my lifestyle. I don't know if I'm going to feel good about that. Yeah, I want to maintain my lifestyle, but if it means killing people, well, I don't want to be a part of that. Can't we do something else, Nope, so they have to lie to you and tell you something else. These empires, they've struck one of our small cities. We have to avenge ourselves. We've got to attack, right? So they probably fed the Roman Empire the same crap they're feeding us. ISIS, Al-Qaeda. What the hell? What happened to Al-Qaeda? Where's Al-Qaeda? All you ever heard about last 10, 12 years. Al-Qaeda, leader, whatever, second in command, first in command, lieutenant, Al-Qaeda. No more Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda's gone. We haven't been exterminating them. When's the last time you heard about this major strike on Al-Qaeda and we hit some major You haven't heard crap. And it's been a long time now. Where did they go? They just, like a little turtle outside the saw, here comes the people, let's go back in my little hole. Oh, well, Al-Qaeda's extinguished. Are they, or did they go back in their hole? Or were they never in existence to begin with, except for a figment in your imagination? And small groups of rebels were the only people we would show ourselves through our media on TV. Oh, there's some Al-Qaeda operatives. Look at them. They got the little heads covered. They've got machine guns in their hands. They're all standing taking the picture in the desert somewhere. So this is Al-Qaeda. How do you know that's not a small group of people wanting to take back or just simply fight against the invaders, which unfortunately happens to be us and our allies who invaded their country? We didn't really say we're invading your country, we're taking over. We just said we're kind of spending the night at your house forcefully. In other words, you don't have a say in the matter. We're here because there's these bad guys and we got to find them. And we've been trying to find them for 13 years now. And we used to call them Al-Qaeda, and now that that's pretty much blown to crap, we beat that dead horse. That horse till it died. It's a dead horse. We got to have something new, so now we all of a sudden come up with ISIS, perfectly timed with the budget cuts of the defense industry. Fake beheadings and all. 3 of them now. Third one. I heard the third one today. Fake beheading after fake beheading after fake beheading. And I kept saying, why don't they just do a real one? These people don't have a problem killing anybody. Do a real one. Find somebody, even find a Middle Eastern terrorist, whatever you want to call them, that looks kind of American, and put him up there and slit his throat. What's the big deal? The big deal is this is SITE, S-I-T-E, private information specialist. I'm not sure what you want to call them. Gathering of intelligence, a private intelligence agency, and they're the only ones, the only corporation on the face of the earth that has produced every video that's ever been put in front of your face as, oh my God, big news, we got this on tape, this is what they're planning, and that started with these fake Osama bin Laden tapes. Go spend a little bit of time on YouTube and search for fake Osama bin Laden or something along those lines, and watch the 3 or 4 videos that were produced years ago and say, oh, who the hell is this standing before me? Who is the guy at the podium? Who's that? Oh my God, they're saying that's Osama? Are you kidding me? The guy, and some of them look like he lost 10 years of his life. He must have found the fountain of youth and drank out of it and aged off 10 years. Just gone. I mean, you ought to have an infomercial. You should have an infomercial on the Osama bin Laden youth cream. Take this cream. It works so well on Osama bin Laden. And I remember talking about this. As a matter of fact, I think InfoWars even talked about it. And they were showing pictures of Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Dick Cheney, all the club from 9/11 that was in charge, right? The 9/11 club. All these guys, and then, let's look at them 10 years later. Fast forward, and then it showed pictures, video, whatever, of them 10 years later. Without a shadow of a doubt, and expected, they have clearly aged. You're talking 10 years. It's obvious. And then they bring out, now let's compare Osama bin Laden from the tapes that we always saw from the very beginning of 9/11, that they were parading with him out in the desert, walking on a bunch of people with his machine guns, him practice shooting at some targets. The same single stupid video that they don't have any more video of this guy. That's as good as you're gonna get, right? I keep playing that one, that's it. And then we realized that video wasn't of 9/11, that was some older video that they said this is the guy. And here's a video of him from a while back. So that's a number of years old. on top of 9/11. So this guy had to have aged 13, 14, 15 years from the time he's done this video. You know, the new videos where he's standing in front of a podium. And the guy looks younger. He looks younger. That means it's fake. So who brought us that video? And the one before it, and the one before it, in front of this podium of him speaking. This Osama bin Laden guy. Doesn't look anything like him. Site Intelligence Group. SITE. They brought it. And you mean to tell me, when we need some more terror event scaredness, fear factoring, whatever you want to call it, Site Intelligence group comes to the rescue with some new beheadings on this new group called ISIS, which has now been converted to ISIL. Is it ISIS or is it ISIL? ISIS or ISIL? What is it? Why are there two names? Why did that happen? And it dawned on me, this isn't the first time I've heard of something of that nature, where they changed the pronunciation pretty significantly of whatever it was. Like, I'm trying to think of what it was. I kept telling myself, oh, it was Al Qaeda, and then they pronounced it out, not Al Qaeda, but it was like it was something significantly different. But it wasn't Al Qaeda. It was another one of these other groups that was along with Al Qaeda, back in the day, whatever, little subgroup. And it was the same kind of thing, ISIL and ISIS. Mark my words. You will see Syria, the whole thing of us going in and telling Syria we know ISIL or ISIS or whoever the hell you want to call them is in your area, and we're going to have to take out some strategic targets when they're there. We're going to have to go after these guys. And Syria came back and said, any attack on any part of our country, anywhere, is an act of war. And any strikes within our country need to be authorized by us, so you need to come to us first. And to be quite honest with you, I would kind of expect that response from any country. Let's just reverse roles here for 1 second. Imagine Iran, Iraq, something, one of those countries, coming and saying, we got a problem with Canadians. Here's a video. They flew 2 planes into 2 towers, and somehow 3 towers fell that day. And we know it was the Canadians. We found his passport, one of their passports, right on the ground, unscathed, unburnt, out of this building. But don't worry about that. I'm giving you a little 9/11 reminder of how that went. And it's the Canadians. So we understand that you guys especially are bordered with Canada, and we have intelligence from this private corporation called SITE Group that have a video they want to present, and we're going to play it for the world today. And this is prior to the Canadian that died in the plane crash. Here's his video saying what he was going to do. And that's enough proof for us. So listen, United States, we're going to bring our military over into your area. We're going to create an embassy in some zone we choose. And we're going to find these guys and take them out. How in the hell do you think that would work out for any country that came to us and said that right now, today? Or 10 years ago, any time period? How do you think that would go? And I'll go a step further. Your government, United States government, decides, all right, let them in. You'd be up in arms. You would be so flipping mad. You would look at, oh my God, we're being invaded. And the government is treasonous. They allowed this to happen. It's their fault. But nothing's being done about it. Do you think some Americans would get together and say, you know what? F the government. We'll take care of this ourselves. That's probably what would happen. You think we're going to stand still while some foreign nation puts their troops on the ground with their tanks, their jets, their helicopters, and then we start hearing periodically, almost on a weekly to monthly basis, we went after some Canadians today, a successful airstrike, but 25 civilians were also killed. One bad guy, 25 civilians. casualty of war. Sorry about that, America. But yeah, we can't leave. I mean, we got to continue our operations here. Then how many more Americans do you think would join the rebel Americans in trying to overthrow these Iranians and Iraqi army militants, right? And then you hear a short while later, another 5 kids died. Another 10 kids and women, whatever, families died. Thought we had a bad guy. This time we didn't have a bad guy. Accident. Sorry about that. How much of that shit do you think we'd put up with before we threw them out ourselves? And we all have, there's so many guns in America, it would be easy. Yeah, they have tanks and they got all these things, so what? You can't successfully do anything unless you've got some troops, some boots on the ground. You're not going to accomplish anything. So that's who the people in this country would target. And we would wipe the floor with them because all of us are armed. That's another benefit, the Second Amendment, right to have and bear arms. So, giving you that scenario, you probably would get angry pretty quick just thinking about this happening. And what I just described to you is probably, I'm quite certain you'll agree, exactly what would happen in America should that have come here. So now let's reverse it to reality, back to where we started. We did do those things to other countries. And anybody that stood up and tried to fight us, which was a losing battle, but some of them said, no, I don't care. We want you out of here. We told our people that's Al-Qaeda. Bad guys, militants. They're disguised in with the civilians. Matter of fact, another Pakistani, or another Afghanistan soldier that was an ally just wiped out 7 or 8 of our troops and then killed himself or ran off. He was supposed to be an ally. That's where the mentality of these people are now. We don't stand a chance fighting them. We want them out of our country. They've been here long enough. They're taking over slowly but surely in our zone, changing things, causing wars, causing conflict. So how else do we fight this? We become their friends, we become their allies, and then we do basically a suicide bombing type of a thing, or in this case, a machine gun. How many of those stories did you hear? Quite a few. And once again, what does our media say? Oh, freaking guy must have been a terrorist. Have you ever turned on the media and they said, you know, I think it's because we're over there, and the citizens of those countries don't want us there, therefore they're banding together to get rid of us? No. Those are terrorists, and that's it. End of story. This is history repeating. United States, while maintaining superpower status for all these years, is being dismantled by history, you could say. Simple history repeating. Which is why they got to get prepared. Now, I realize, you remember old Lindsey Williams said a while back, 4 or 5 months, or whatever, 3 or 4 months, you're going to hear this announcement about these currencies, we got to do these devaluation, everyone's going to talk about it, we got to do this, blah, 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 blah. Hasn't happened yet. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely. These people don't work off of timelines normally. They work off of agendas. We got to do this first, then we do this second. Keeping in mind, we got stopped dead in our tracks at Syria. Haven't been able to overthrow him. So what I was talking about earlier, this whole fighting ISIL, ISIS, we're coming into your zone, Syria, it's not about ISIS. We got to complete the job. We've got to get rid of Assad. So if we can start putting our boots, so to speak, on the ground, getting some operations in there, we're going to be helping that process along to oust Mr. Assad. That's why this whole ISIL, ISIS nonsense came up in the first place. Because think about it, it wasn't, we never heard of Syria yet, just Iraq. They took the speed and ferociousness they went through Iraq. They've like claimed everything. Oh my God, where's the video of this massive, humongous army that would be able to do that? You get little photos and tiny video of a few people in a pickup truck with a 50 caliber weapon on the back and AK-47s out in their hands. That's what's going around the desert, taking over the entire country of Iraq. Yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, Ooh, now they're in Syria. I guess we're going to have to go there too. That was the primary target. Where else did we see that? Oh, Osama bin Laden, Afghanistan. How about Pakistan? Oh, and while we're at it, let's finish off Saddam Hussein in Iraq, 2004. Wait a minute, 9/11, I thought, what the hell's that got to do with him? And oh, ISIL, what does that have to do with Syria? They were taking over Iraq, right? Whoa. It's all complete and utter nonsense. It is all for this massive agenda that's coming. They don't want you thinking for 1 second the government's responsible for all these problems. No, they've got to keep the propaganda machines in overdrive. It's all the rest of the world. It's not us. We're just defending ourselves preemptively by invading countries. We're going into countries offensively, but we're defending ourselves. Weren't all 19 hijackers, they said, or 18 of the 19, something like that, from 9/11? That's what we were told. Saudi Arabian, all of them. Did you ever hear the word, we're going to Saudi Arabia? No? Did you know that the Osama bin Laden family were like members of the board? They were in the same company that George Bush Sr. was in. Was it the Carlyle Group? I think. Investors, they both invest. They're both investors, top dogs in that company. Oh, but their son attacked America. Yeah, okay. Keep believing that crap if you want. I gotta go. Take care.